Welcome everybody. Now, because I'm the mother of 3 daughters, I'm going to break all tradition and speak first. Thanks, Tim. And I'm only going to say a few words because I've forgotten my glasses and because I promised Jane. Now, I remember turning 29 in 1984 and celebrating your birth, Jane. And I thought I had got to be the happiest woman on this planet, and I couldn't take my eyes off you. And it's with pride and joy, years later, that I can share these feelings once again with you on this very special day. Jane, you've made this day so easy for me. Thank you. Thank you, Tim. Your organisational skills are a credit to you. From a very young age, you had such wisdom and maturity and ability to apply common sense way beyond your years. And I think Kate and Sal and Phil would agree with that. And I can assure you, Tim, you're in a really good hands. No, sorry. And along with this, Jane, you were never afraid of hard work. You're always working towards achievable goals. And needless to say, you set the bar pretty high. As in families, there's always a pecking order, and you're a hard act for Kate and Sally to follow. But they enjoyed nudging you off your perch every now and then, but I won't tell any tales out of school, not tonight anyway. We welcome you, Tim, into our family with arms wide open. And you only have to look at Brian and Christine to see their love, their respect and their commitment, which is reflected in your love and devotion to Jane. You're a lucky girl, Jane. And you have our unconditional love and support, and we look forward into sharing the magic unfolding throughout the years. Congratulations.
Mine's not going to be that gushing. The rooster crows. I can clearly recall, and was quite affected by it last Boxing Day. Just after, we were at the Paddo Pad after a fierce game of table tennis, and that reinforced Tim's competitive nature. The ladies were in the kitchen. Tim passed me a beer and ushered me to one side. In a very touching moment, he quietly and sincerely asked permission to marry my daughter Jane. I was bowled over. Whoever thought that I would be asked for such a... Excuse me. It was not on the agenda. My daughter? Do you mean Jane? Do people still do this? Get married? I can't recall my actual response, but I do recall stating how touched I was for the gesture, and that yes, I do indeed wholeheartedly give him permission to marry my daughter. It was a big call. I was impressed. Tim then whispered that he would like to keep this a secret between us fellas, as he had plans for a romantic proposal at the top of the mountain in Aspen later that January. Of course, I responded, "No problems, mate." Smugly, I retained this position of confidence with Tim throughout the next month. There was some speculation amongst the girls during this time, but my lips were sealed. On an afternoon in late January, we received a call from Jane from Halfway House Restaurant. Yeah, close enough. On the mountain. informing us that they were bunkered down in a blizzard with some friends at lunch and Tim had proposed. What a surprise! Ruth was over the moon, our secret was out. Who would have thought that this Gosford boy and confirmed bachelor had a romantic bone in his body? If you haven't gathered by now, I'm the proud father of the bride, Phil McBride, and it is with some pleasure that I welcome you all here tonight. I do hope to get to meet all of you sometime later, if this keeps going. Some of you have travelled from distant countries. There's many from New York here, I'm starting to understand. And from the far west to be here. On this important occasion, I welcome you and thank you for coming. How good does Jane look? Yes, I know, that's a bit hackneyed that tonight, but let's go with it. The girls have had lots of fun this year hovering around selecting the garb for this gig. Tim, what can I say? Very impressed, I'm sure now. I thought he'd have his boardies and thongs on, like one of those newsreaders. We'll wait, we'll see. Anyway, a year with some ups and downs for both family fronts, this one, and it's now ending on a high. I would like to give special mention to a few very special people here tonight, some that aren't here. Firstly, of course, to the mother of the bride, Ruth. She's been waiting impatiently for this day, a lady of extraordinary qualities and number one mum, and I am indeed very privileged to be associated with her. Jane and Tim, you're lucky to have her as a mum-in-law. If there ever was a testament to marriage and good basic family ethics, you just need to look at Tim's mum and dad, Chris and Brian. I'm just getting to know them, but their influence on Tim is indelibly imprinted. His personality, success and generosity. A great model, married for many, many years. I gather your dad started out as a drug dealer in Nimbin, Tim. Ask me later. It's true. However, Jane's got a past related to Griffith too, so there's a few stories we could stretch there, I'm sure. Anyway, where was I? Yes. Central Coast, raising the kids, encouraging a healthy, active lifestyle, giving the drugs up, and all kids advancing to a successful working career. Chris and Brian have shown how you can successfully manage, juggle a professional career and raise a family. They're legends. Whilst I do not know them well, I can see that these qualities have translated through to the kids and certainly to Tim. We're privileged to be a part of the extended family. Thank you. A fourth person unfortunately bailed up at Gosford Hospital tonight, and looking forward to seeing the wedding photos is Jane's grandmum, a person of great strength who has been inspirational to our family. Thanks, Mum. Our thoughts are with you. Jane, our firstborn, determined, single-minded from the start. My little shadow as a young child, focus of attention until joined by her other sisters. The boss, admiringly manipulative with her siblings. Always found a way to get away. Excuse me. Tim, we're in for some fun here. I recall sleeping through her first stage show. Jane was about 3, cavorting around in a tutu. After the show, Jane approached me and said, "Dad, I'm not really into this. I'd rather play tennis." Being the accommodating dad that I was, I conversed with Ruth and headed out onto the court. It wasn't long until Jane was blasting the balls all over the place and I was dutifully picking them up. Alicia, you can relate to that, I'm sure. Yeah, after that, it wasn't long after until Jane approached me and said, "Dad, can you take me skiing?" At that time, we were kings of Smigs. Everyone knows Smigs? Yeah? Smigs. Down south, Paris. Smigs. I was there doing the piece of pizza, snowplow. I was awesome. The Palmer lifted, Smigs. Great run. Being the accommodating dad I was conversing with Jane, and Jane said, "Look, I really want to go skiing, Dad." So there I was, out there with Jane in the backpack, doing the piece of pizza. Wasn't long after, Jane was between my skis and we were pizzaing down together, hurtling down through the Palmer at Smingers. Wasn't long after, Jane left the skis and I was following her down the mountain. But then, couldn't find her. She was over the hill, moved on to Perisher, Blue Cow, and I was still there at Smith's. Oh well. Some years later in Canberra, Jane came to me and said that we should move to Sydney, and specifically that she should attend Winona School. As she considered the big city would open up a larger network for her. Being the accommodating dad that I was, I consulted with Ruth and we relocated to Sydney. Jane headed off to school, Winona. She would come home with stories of kids she met from Shaw, Riverview, Scott's, Joey's. Weren't there any other girls' school in Sydney? Winona prepares the girls for life's experiences. Sure does. Yeah, well, it sure teaches them how to manage the guys. Jane excelled at school in sport and in networking, and on leaving school knuckled down to a life of torture through a business degree, certified accountant's qualification at PwC. I admired her stoicism through this ordeal. She did, however, find time to sustain the networking. Tim, you may be interested to know that one of the school electives Jane undertook was husbandry. And I found an old file the other day. Inside there were some lecture notes. A paragraph was highlighted. How to choose a husband. The criteria. He must have a handicap of less than 20 and has skied powder. Interesting. I'm not into horse racing, I shouldn't comment on the first bit. And skied powder, is that anywhere near Smith's? You may be getting the drift. We fellas are outgunned by the ladies. We don't have a chance. Tim, when you get tired of following around the slopes, you know where you can find me. Down there at Smith's. Tim, we're delighted to have you as a son-in-law. Welcome to the family. Oh, one more important thing. How about a toast to the bride and groom? Tim Brewster and Jane Shaw. Please raise your glasses. Cheers.